Hold on. We go.
All right, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to our Saturday training. As you guys know, we do this every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just for an hour. So you get all the information that you need. All right, each and every week, guys, so that you can become better leaders, better agents, better business owners, right? You get all the information you need to go crush it each and every week. And we always have a different speaker, and we're always covering something different, but we always cover the fundamentals. So make sure you're on and your team is plugged on each and every week so you get the daily dose that you need, all right, to go crush it each and every week, all right? Now, guys, as you know, I always start with the top 10. All right. And so for March week 5, I know we're in April now, right? But this is the last week, March week 5. All right. Coming in at number 10, we have Matthew H. I believe that's his first time on there. 9 Families Help. And if I can have everybody mute for me, please, so everyone can hear. Perfect. Number 9, Jamal Norcom, 10 Families Help. Number 8, Eugene Marshall, 11 Families Help. Number 7, Andre B, 11 Families Help. Number 6, Marquisa, I think that's her first time up there, 12 Families Help. Number 5, Richard Moore, 13 Families Help. Number 4, Rachel Canning, 14 Families Help. Number 3, Rakita Gorham, 15 Families Help. Number 2, Ryan Urbanski, 16 Families Help. And guys, as you know, there can only be one number 1. I believe this is her first time. I don't know if she's a new agent. I think we'll find out. Janice S, 57 Families Help this past week. It's insane. But guess what? Guess what that teaches us? That this is doable. And if you want to know what they're doing, you have to do as they do. And that is, these people are working, okay? And not that anyone else is not working, but if you're not where you need to be, if these numbers don't look like that, guess what? You have each and every week to start again and to go and crush it and hit it hard. And so, guys, you too can be in the top 10. We all can be in the top 10. You just got to do the work, right? So just do more than what you did last week. That's 100% growth. All right, guys. So I do want to go over some announcements before I turn it over to our EVP. The first thing that I want to talk about, guys, and we won't have the flyers up. Hopefully we can maybe try to post them in the group chat a little bit later, or guys, provide the link if possible. I know we have Chris. Chris is good at putting the information in there. But the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is live dials. Guys, live dials. We're on there every day. All right, guys. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, as leaders, sometimes we are on at different times because we're either doing a hybrid schedule or we are helping other leaders, right? This is a chance for leaders on here to step up, all right, and get on these calls, right? Because we need other leaders on there to help these agents out, all right? But you too can be on there listening to someone else dial to figure out how do I book these appointments? How do I close a telesale? Well, if you have all those questions, they can all be answered on live dial. So make sure you're on there each and every day. It starts at 7:30. Everybody has a different time schedule, so you'll get a different leader, most cases sometimes throughout the day. But get on, if you don't see anyone on there, take initiative and be that person to be on there consistently so that you can become better. You can be the person that someone else listens to, right? But we always have someone on there. We were just on there this morning. Guys, make sure you're on live sales dials. I don't care if you're booking appointments in the field or if you're closing or doing telesales, right? You're never too good to learn. Colleen and I learned something each and every day. I learned something yesterday that I didn't know. So it's so important to be on there. But guys, your team is watching what you're doing. If you have a team and you're pushing your team to be on there, but you aren't on there as a leader, they're not going to get on. Your team does half of what you do. And if you do half of anything, your team does nothing. And if you do nothing, your team quits. So always understand something, that you have a responsibility. If you are building a business here and you're bringing people on, you are that face, right? So you have to be the leader and you have to show up or no one shows up at all. That's number one, live sales dials. Number two, what's so important, guys, is the work spot discounts. I know that, just a note, guys, if you haven't got the notification, if you weren't looking in Telegram or on Slack, the CRM is down for the weekend. There is an entirely new system that they're putting together. They gave us several different warnings to get our leads, print them out, do whatever we need to do. But it is down until, I believe it's Monday. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Tuesday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday.
Tomorrow.
Okay, great. Tomorrow. Okay. So if you're trying to get into the CRM and you can't, right, it's because it's down. We're getting a whole new CRM. But most importantly, guys, the work spots, as I was saying, what that allows you to do for $99 a month, it allows you to have access to an office that's close and nearby you. You have top leadership training for free. Guys, you have free Wi-Fi, you have a desk and office, a whole environment to work out of, guys, to become successful. But not only that, the most important thing that it has is those discounts, right? The leads are already affordable compared to other IMOs and other companies that offer leads. But most importantly, guys, it's a discount on the leads. So you save a ton of money each and every year. So and this is only for $99 a month. I've never seen anything like it. So if you're serious about your business, right? If money is an issue, right? It doesn't have to be. Save your money and get work spots, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is our weekly schedule. Guys, there's no excuse why you can't have success here. I understand we have so many different type of family structures, situations on this call, right? So the beauty about what we did was we put a weekly schedule in place for you guys so that there's something going on each and every day. So there's no excuse why you can't win. All right. So when we post that weekly schedule, screenshot it and, tailor it to how you're going to run your business and move forward here with FFL. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about as well is the switch to Telegram. If you have not made the switch already, or if you have not been added, please get with the person that brought you in to get into Telegram. Yes, we are still in Slack for FFL national purposes, and we are posting in Family Serve, but we have moved our personal group, Fury and High Voltage and other leaders, to Telegram, okay, which is way more personable, way better. Right? You can do gifts. I mean, you can do all type of stuff on Telegram, guys. And if you haven't seen it already, people are killing it and they're posting, and it's just, it's way better for our personal group, which I absolutely love it. So if you haven't made the switch, make the switch, get over there, go into the link. I know we sent it out so that you can be in Telegram. And then the last announcement, guys, is the Maryland conference. This is the big event, the next big event, and big decisions are made at big events, guys. The Maryland conference is going to be off the chain. They did switch the location, okay? It's going to be May 14th. I don't necessarily have the flyer in front of me with the changes on it, but we will post that. Make sure you get registered. You would want to be there. I can promise you. The reason why Kali's business is where it is, the reason why mine is where it is, the reason why so many leaders on here that attended a big event and FFL is having success is because of these big events. You don't know what you're going to hear that's going to take your business to the next level. But most importantly, you don't know what your teammates are going to hear. And I can guarantee you this, if you're looking to build a business, the biggest and fastest way to do that is to rally a bunch of people, right, to an event so that they can see exactly what you see. And guys, everything in business is numbers. Just like we tell you how many appointments you have to set to have results, how many people you have to talk to, how many closes you're going to make. It's the same with hiring. And it's the same with recruiting. Okay. So the more people you get to this event, the more chances you have someone who is tired of where they are, tired of the rat race, wants something different, wants something and want to go after something bigger than themselves. They're trying to figure this thing out and want to have success and they want to win here. They're going to see what they need to take their business, including yourself, to the next level. Okay. So make sure you are there. We're going to have so many different types of speakers who are winning at high levels right now. All right, to tell you what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're doing it. They're going to give you everything. So you do not want to miss it. Okay. And that's May 14th. We'll post a flyer with the updates on there as well. All right, guys. So that's it for the announcements. As you guys know, I always love highlighting this amazing woman, my super friend, right? But set aside from super friend, she is a dynamic leader, a dynamic business partner. I learned so much from her. The reason why I am where I am today is because of because of who she is and the decisions that she's made and the leadership that she gets. I can tell you right now, transitioning from the last company to this company, right? My pockets have grown because I'm around the right leader. So it really does matter who you listen to and who you're around, because 6 years compared to 2, my life it's been a change overnight. So be mindful about who you're around, who you're listening to, who you're talking to, because from experience, I went from 6 years of being broke to 2 years of changing my entire life and my pockets. So with that being said, our very own EVP, the first African-American female to get an integrity deal, I'll be following right behind her. And guess what? Everyone else can get right on the bandwagon. Kali Somerville. Take it away, girl.
Hey, I want to cheer for myself.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all want to be a speaker on this call just so Corinne can introduce you. You the leaders, all the people that put up businesses speak, and who are on the call this morning, guys. Oh yeah, because I'm driving, so I don't know. Can y'all hear me? Is it okay now?
Yes.
And I can't pull over because I got to get to my appointment. So, but y'all can hear me now.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's just going in and out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Well, I'm not going to be the speaker. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, who she is another diva in this business. She is killing it. Her and her squad. She's an executive vice president. Guys, the thing about Family First Life is it doesn't take a long time to get to vice president. It doesn't take a long time to get to senior vice president. It doesn't take a long time to get to executive vice president. You just got to put your head down and do the work and lead by example so that other people would want to follow you. So this lady, I'm not sure how long she's been in the business, but I feel like me and her started around the same time. And she, like I said, currently she's an executive vice president. She's a Hall of Famer. Her biggest personal month was 60,000 in personal production. And then her team averages about $500,000 in volume a month. She came here from another insurance organization. I think they had bait and switch leads from the organization that she came from. But I'll let her tell her story. Marysa Maggio. Marysa Maggio, you there?
I am. How you doing, Kelly?
Hey, Marysa, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Marysa. So tell everybody, because, for people, I know you just because, we were in the same office for a little while. But a lot of people may not know you. So tell a little bit about who you are, your story, how you started with Family First Life, and, kind of where you are now.
Yeah, for sure. So again, thanks so much for having me on. I don't take it lightly. So thanks again, Kali. Really appreciate it. I really just kind of appreciate being in business with other people who actually care about their business. And I'm going to kind of circle back around to that. But just to kind of hit the call off, tell you guys a little bit about who I am. I've been in the industry since late 2016. I got into the industry, fresh out of college. I was 20 years old and probably not all that bright at the time. And essentially, I signed on with a company where the model, so to say, was to help union members, get their benefits, which sounds great in theory. I also didn't understand it was commission, which was my fault. My point is showing I was young and I wasn't that smart, but I still figured it out in a bait and switch model. So essentially, Kali, I came in, I was, using child safe kits to get in people's home. And then I would, give you your child safe kit and try to sell you insurance. I would go out there with some type of no cost benefit. And it started getting really uncomfortable when I started growing within the company. Because could I do it? Yeah, I could do it. I did it. I was, making money. What I will say, though, is to take a step back. In my first month, I didn't make $1. And it was just me. I had just lost my mom the year before that. Dad was never really in the picture. So it was just my sister and me. So I knew if I didn't make a living, I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a backup plan, or I was just going to call mom or dad, or I was just going to, not pay my rent, or I was just it wasn't going to work. So I had to figure it out. My first month, I made absolutely no money. And that was mainly for reasons in hindsight that I see where I didn't reach out to people, not because I thought I was better than them, but because I thought that they were better than me and they couldn't deal with whatever it was I needed to bring to them. What else it definitely was my confidence. My confidence was at like a, I don't know, like a negative, 10. If it could get any lower, that's where it was. And really things that I was able to do to boost my confidence was I needed to just start realizing how I was talking to myself. What I was saying, like things like even, you drop your phone and you're like, I'm an idiot. Like, don't say that. Like, it sounds silly, but bad self-talk leads to bad behaviors, self-destructive behaviors typically. So essentially after that first month, I didn't sell anything. I finally got some coaching, so to say. And through that coaching, I realized that, wow, all I needed was some minor tweaks and adjustments to be able to go in a home and actually be a bit more confident, because I couldn't sell a policy, Kylie, to somebody who was begging for a policy. They could have been like, please, here's my voided check driver's license and my backup driver's license. And I would have been like, oh, are you sure that you want to do this today? Like, I walked them out of the sale instead of walking them into it. But once I actually got the proper coaching and I was willing to take feedback, particularly on the phones, things change. So the following month, in that first company, it was a big deal. If you wrote, if you helped 10 families, that was in a month, that was like a huge deal. They would like celebrate you and like roll out the red carpet, but the comp wasn't there. I was like at I think when I went in, I was at a 32.5 or 37.5% comp. So if we all do the math, we're definitely in the right place. But essentially that second month that I was in that, in the industry, I finally started making money because I got uncomfortable, right? I did things I didn't want to do. Like, I reached out to people that I didn't want to talk to in regards to like leadership. And that's really what kind of got me involved with helping others kind of pave the way. But in that first practice company, essentially what really kind of turned me off to it was not just the bait and switch, but now it was different when they brought me in and they told me, hey, you're going to be working with union members and their benefits. And then I started, bait and switching, with child safe kits and knocking on random people's door, asking them if they got their child safe kit yet. But now I'm going to have other people doing this. And I was going to be the person who was directly hiring them. So now I start bringing people in and I did the interview process and I told them exactly what I was told, just like I was supposed to. And it started to turn me off because now these people are coming in, they're field training with me, which means they get in my car and they're riding along with me. And essentially, they're like, where's basically the union member benefits? Like, I thought that that's what we worked with. And I'm like, we do. Like, so it started to feel really almost shady in that essence, or like there was a better way. So that's when I really just kind of sought out the IMO the IMO plays the business. And that's kind of, my short story of, I could go on for days of how I got here, but that's how I got into Family First Life. So I hope that answers your question, Callie.
Yeah, it does. So I heard you. It's funny because Marysa, like the things that work for at another company still work here. You know what I'm saying? You talked about, saying reaching out or reaching up, asking questions, getting uncomfortable. Like, even though that wasn't the best fit for you for company wise, those principles still work here at FFL. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that if you don't do that here, because they're so hands-on there, they treated me like a W2, Kylie. Like, if and we're not necessarily with all of our agents every day. So we don't know what's happening. And there's only so much we can do. So if you don't reach out, like, we don't know that you need help. We just assume like you got it, or like you don't really feel like doing it. Being you're an independent contractor. So we just let you kind of do you, so to say, or we can only hit you up so many times, right? Right, Callie, until it's your responsibility to reach out. So yeah, right. That definitely is applicable here.
Perfect. Now, how long were you there, Marysa, with the other company?
I was with that captive organization for about 2 years. I did make a jump to a different IMO from there, which was a nightmare. Signed a contract, so I learned about contracts there, like why we don't sign them, right? And coming into FFL, just to kind of go off that, like, I had 2 companies. So for those of you out there that are like, I have to wait until I have 87 writing codes, like, please, no, you don't. I came here with CFG paper apps and AIG. Like, that's it. Like, and I'm over there
Whoa.
like, I'm a broke, I had 2 companies, right? Like, so you can make it happen. You just have to want to make it happen.
So, and then how long have you been with FFL?
So I've been with FFL for about 3.5 years, which is crazy to say. I didn't start building really until 2020 when the pandemic hit. And the main reason for that, honestly, was because I had trust issues with the insurance industry. Coming into Family First Life, I said, this is going to be my Hail Mary, if you will, my last shot at this industry. And I wasn't even so sure that I was going to come in. I was like, I might not, because at my first company, every time you built the team and you grew to that next level of leadership, they took your team. They said, Callie, you're so awesome that we just know that we're going to take your team. We're going to leave you at 1 or 2 people. We're going to give you this 5-point, promotion. And now you're going to build a whole new team. And I was like, yeah. And now I'm like, yeah, I dare somebody. Right. So essentially this whole essence of like, you got to give up to go up. You got to give up to go up, but don't be giving up your teammate. That's weird. Right. Didn't know that at the time. And then kind of transitioning into Family First Life, I literally wouldn't get started until I had a peace of mind knowing like I saw and met, and at this time, Sean Mike was out of Connecticut and I was out of Massachusetts. So I simply went to the corporate office, met with Sean Mike. He looked me in my face and told me, you got nothing like to worry about. You're in good hands. This is what it looks like. Walked me through everything, walked me through the contract I had signed with the previous IMO, and basically showed me why it didn't make sense, which I actually really appreciated because we usually just sign things and don't read them. And that was my final shot at insurance. I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. And did I trust Sean? Yeah, I did. But I also knew I trusted the 2 other leaders before in those other companies where I wasn't, they weren't necessarily helping me thrive, so to say. So I was hesitant to build, which is my biggest regret, hands down, my biggest regret. Because in 2020, I started growing with my sister, Christina, and we just got really intentional about it. But if I had started growing once I came in, this business would look completely different right now, but still super thankful for where I'm at. But for anybody out there who's like, is this real? Or like, am I jaded maybe from another company? Like, take that story into consideration. Like, I literally was on, like, I was ready to be out. I was trying to find a plan B. I just didn't know what it was. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Marysa, our stories are like almost identical. Like coming, like not really sure. Like FFL was before I started FFL, I was literally looking for a job, and I got hired for a job selling blinds, and FFL in the same week. Right, I found out about FFL. Well, was interested in doing FFL the same week, and then I prayed for God to point me in the right direction. And it definitely wasn't the blind. So, but I still, came in kind of, nervous and scared because I had the same thing. I had, was given all these dreams and these promises from the other company that I came from. And, nothing that was told to me was well, not nothing that was true, but a lot of it, they sold the struggle at the last company. Like here, when people get on stage, they talk about where they started, and then they were struggling most likely when they started, and then they came to FFL. FFL changed their life. Not they came to FFL and then lost everything, and then now we're here. It's two different narratives from 2 different companies. So it sounds very, very similar to me. Even though we were at 2 different messages.
I'm losing you a little bit.
IMOs that. Oh shoot.
Oh no,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It tells me, that there's a lot of other insurance companies, a lot of other IMOs that are selling the same thing. And there's so many more people that we have to go out and, tell about FFL because it really is a life changer. Now, you hear Hall of Fame, right, Marysa? The Hall of Fame?
Yep.
And that's 400 families. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes.
400 families a year, personal, to get to Hall of Fame. year did you get to Hall of Fame, or have you done it multiple years?
So I hit Hall of Fame one time in 2020. And I think it was,
Okay.
Callie, you're cutting out a little bit. But you asked about Hall of Fame. I hit it once in 2020. And, you know, to be honest with you, going into 2020, I didn't even think I could hit Hall of Fame. Like, it wasn't even on like the to-do list. And I don't say that in a negative connotation. I say it because, again, it was a limiting self-belief. Like, that's all it was. I would be at the office. Some of you guys might be familiar, like Eric Schmidt, when he first got started. And Eric came out a beast. He was helping like 40, 50, 60, 70 families a month. Meanwhile, I was helping like 20, 30, 40, which like, it's not bad, but I was chilling straight up. I will say it just like that. I was chilling in the beginning of 2020. And I started telling myself these stories like, oh, like Eric just must write all of his family members, and Eric must just, you know, get the special leads, whatever narrative, you know, I just wanted to fill in the blank. And mind you, like, I've worked here. Like, I know that there's no special lead. Like, that's not a thing. If somebody finds it though, like, call me, please, you know, because I'm still looking for it, right? They're all special. But really, the biggest thing I can relate Hall of Fame to is it's like growing in this business in terms of investing. Like, you know, you got to invest in the business to get money out, on the personal production side or on, you know, the building side. Right. And that's normal. And that's great. But what Paul McLean really kind of put me to, you know, a call of action. And I don't really think that at the time Paul viewed it as a challenge. I think Paul actually viewed it like, oh, hey, like this makes sense. So Paul just called me. He said, hey, there's this new lead type. And it was when retro mortgage came out. And, you know, you might be able to get them in mass, you know, see if like email the leads department, see if you can turn them on. And he's like, they're like $84 a piece. I said, $84? And he said, yeah. And I was like, okay. And he was like, why? And I was like, I mean, that's a law, don't you think? He's like, I mean, it can make you a lot of money, don't you think? I was like, yeah. Callie, I like started the email, stopped the email like 5 times. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't want to send it because I knew that I was going to be held accountable on that program to make sure that that money was there. Because you know what? I didn't want my leads rolling to Paul McLean. Like, that's embarrassing, right? Like, I'm an adult. I'm an adult. So I started having these leads come in, and this sounds so stupid because it's a small, tiny thing. But literally, when I've turned those leads on, I already had different leads on and reoccurring programs on, whether it was Facebook or BPL programs or, you know, you fill in the blank. But it was more like, okay, like I just took on this other bill, and then I had just got an office. I had just had a whole bunch of expenses that were added. And then I called Paul and I was like freaking out about just like, hey, dude, I just want to make sure I'm making the right decision. And he's like, about what? He thinks I'm about to start talking about like an agent I'm helping out or something. He's like, are you really still on the retro leads from like, you know, Paul called me at like 7 a.m. Eastern time, like 4 a.m. Pacific. You know, he's like, are you still on like from like 4 a.m.? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's like 9 o'clock at night Eastern. And I'm like freaking out. But my whole point is putting that extra investment and knowing that I'm going to have a lead bill held me more accountable. And I didn't hit Hall of Fame because my lead bill was higher. Let's not get confused here. I hit Hall of Fame because I finally saw I could do it. I had the proper resources in front of me. Before I bought leads, don't get me wrong, I bought leads before every dial day. I dialed, I tried to get to my appointments. I wouldn't leave the office until 9 o'clock, non-negotiable, still won't leave the office until 9 o'clock until I have my 16 appointments for the next 2 days. But there were days I would leave at 9 o'clock and I had, you know, 30 door knocks I had to do because I only had booked 12. And it's like, you know, some people on here are like, well, 12 ain't bad, but 12 ain't 16. It wasn't the goal, right? So adding these leads made sure that my appointment count was always there as long as I showed up to dial day. And I want to just kind of piggyback off of, I think it was Karen, and I apologize if your name is not Karen, that started the call off. And she hit hard on, go ahead, Callie, what is it?
It's Corinne.
Corinne, I apologize. But you did an amazing job and you hit on some important stuff. Like you hit on dial team, live dials. Like if you're on this call and you've ever complained about dials, get on the dial team. Like if you're having a hard time on the phone, get on the dial team. If you are like, oh no, I got the phones laid down, I'm better than Callie and Frankie Euphemia and Jamie Euphemia on the phone, good, get on the dial team and show up for your team. Show up. Because if you're already doing it, why are you not on the dial team? And that really also changed. So going back to Hall of Fame, I was committed to being on dial team. I told my team every Monday and Thursday at that time, we were still doing mainly in home, we were going to do a dial team, and we all had sections or time periods that began. My time spot began at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I didn't do that because it was like fun, right? I did that because I knew I had to start it, and if I didn't show up, no one was going to show up. So essentially, by increasing my lead flow, keeping my activity high, staying scheduled, plugging into the calls, getting on the dial teams and being affiliated and acquainted around people, and then also having, work spots laying out, it was a big deal because it was a lot of good information all at the same time. So now at this point, I have all my resources. It was about what was I going to do with them? So I went out, I had, in that year I think it was like 3 months, I wrote over 50K. I helped over 50 families back to back. And that was really exciting because it was a lot of coverage in place for folks. And it was also like, oh shoot, you're going to hit this Hall of Fame thing. So it's like, I looked down and then I looked up and it was, June, and I was more than halfway there. And, I got Paul on the phone like, dude, you could do this in the next 3 months. So I hit it in September and started going for it in about March. So anybody on this call, you can hit Hall of Fame if that's what you want to do, but you have to want to do it. And then while you're going through that process, it's not always going to be easy. Sometimes I'm in my car till this day. It's not this is not supposed to be easy. We get paid at a high level because we solve big problems. Like when somebody dies, that's a big problem. So when we're going in someone's home, or we're on the phone, or we're on Zoom, or whatever we're doing, we're finding the problem, but we're also finding the solution for that client. And when you can think about it like that and not just think about your commission. And again, I've been in a bad financial place. Quite frankly, when I came into Family First Life, I had under $1,000 in my bank account. I wasn't over here like balling, but I was number 4 in my previous company, right? I'm like, damn, what's number 5, number 6, and 7 doing, right? But my whole point is I didn't come over here doing great. I came over here scared. I came over here really, really nervous. And I came over here like with the fear of loss, or I could look forward and I could say, okay, I'm going to look forward and look at this faith over fear. And I'm going to choose faith. That's what I chose, even if I wasn't cautious of it at the time. And if you're on this call, that's probably what you chose too. So pick the phone up, dial, help families. I'm not special. No disrespect. Kylie ain't special. Frankie Euphemia ain't special. Sean Mike ain't special. He'll tell you, right? None of us are special. But here's what I can tell you is we all work really, really, really hard. Again, there's no prerequisites, but you have to work hard. You have to plug in. You have to show up every single day. And if it's not for yourself, show up for somebody else. Show up for your team. Show up for your family. Whatever the reason of why you're doing this, when the how can outweigh the why doesn't matter. I mean, the how doesn't matter, right? When the why can outweigh the how doesn't matter. So how are you going to do it? You're going to take the tools that have been laid out. You're going to utilize them all, and you're going to plug in, and you're going to realize that whatever you want out of this business is truly like, it's limitless. It doesn't, you can do literally whatever it is that you want in this business. And that's really just the beauty of it. So I hope that makes sense.
That was good, Marysa. That's so good. Now, and then coming in, you said broke, right? 60% of the people that come into FFL, Mark Me told me that, are broke. 60% of the people just really don't have any money, right? And I think most people come in the same way you come in, or I came in too, nervous, scared, not sure if this is it, not sure if this works. And then you just put your head down and went to work, and then you're helping other people change their lives financially, right? Look, whatever you're driving I can tell it's a very nice car. But that came as a result of work in FFL, and it didn't get like, a lot of times people want, as an independent contractor, they think that we're supposed to walk them through every step of the way. That's not the case. Like, what I've realized, and Marysa, is a lot of the people that come to FFL and have massive success are the people that come in and figure it out. Like, they're not waiting for, like, I didn't wait for Frank to walk me through everything step by step. I tried to figure it out, and if I had a question, then I would reach out to him. But it wasn't Frank's job to get my business. That's my job, right? And we, just like we as leaders, we can't take credit for your success. We can't take credit for your failure either. It's all about what you know what I'm saying? We're going to give you the tools and the resources to go out and win. And it's up to each and every person to take those tools and resources and use them, because we know it works too. The system here at Family First Life is if you follow it, you will have, I tell people every time, I can guarantee you will have success if you follow the system. The problem is people pick and choose what they want to do and what they don't want to do, and that's not the system. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Marysa looks frozen.
No, we can hear you.
Can I? Okay, good. All right. So, and I think it's good. I think it's good for other people to hear from other leaders, because I think sometimes, Marysa, people think me and Corinne, we just say this stuff just because it sounds good. No, it doesn't matter what organization you're in, which agency you're in at FFL. The system is the same. It's plugging in, listening to your upline, and following the direction, because your success is our success. And the more people that we have being successful, the more successful we are as a team, right? So Marysa, I know we really can't talk about money anymore, but you can talk about your lifestyle, right? About where you were when you started lifestyle-wise, and then where you are now.
Yeah, so I mean, just coming into Family First Life, again, I was in the industry, but I'm going to just talk strictly Family First Life. So like I mentioned, when I came in, I had under $1,000 in my bank account. But before I do say this, I want to just piggyback off what you were just saying, Callie. Like, it's not you and Corinne's job to say, hey, this is what I'm going to give you a 3-hour training class on, what to say when somebody says I'm not interested, right? Like, that ain't a thing. We already made that, because it's like going to a McDonald's franchise and say, oh, I don't think it works here. Like, it's the same food everywhere. It might taste a little different. Like, in Spain, I was like, oh, this chicken nugget tastes a little different, but it was still the same exact chicken nuggets that we have here in the United States, right? So my point is your leaders are pointing you to plug in this, do this, like, follow this system, follow this path. It's beautiful because it's already laid out. If it wasn't laid out, not this many people would be able to see success. Like, I'm not special. Like, if my sister was sitting next to me right now, she'd be like, oh no, you're so special. But like, no, like you really ain't. Like, like, my point is there's nothing special about us except we follow the system. So it's no one's job to tell you when every call happens, although we probably try to alert you through a Slack channel or a Telegram, right? But my whole point is it's your job to show up. Just like it's your job when you set an appointment to make that call or to go to that home or to get on that Zoom. Kylie can't do it for you. Corinne can't do it for you. Like, they can't. But what I can tell you is they do want you to win, so they're never going to give you bad advice. That would be the equivalent of the McDonald's franchise owner saying, hey, let's go ahead and let's just put a whole bunch of poison in all the hamburgers and give them out. Why would we give out poison? We want to see you win. So, just to kind of piggyback off that, yes, we want to see you win. You can win here. And there's a system that's beautifully laid out. And if you just follow it and you don't poison it, which is usually your mindset, by the way, that's that poison, right? You don't poison it and you just follow it. Or if you see that you're on track to be poisoned, you take a step back. That's when you reach out. Hey, I made 350 dials today and I talked to this many people. Like, don't reach out like I made 30 dials. I don't care. And quite frankly, no one else should either. 30 dials ain't enough. That's like, so reaching out when it's appropriate but also realizing you got to reach out, and no one's here to babysit, but we are here to help you build your business, with you, but not for you. So you got to do the work too. But just to give you an example of lifestyle. So again, I came in with under $1,000 in my bank account, which was really scary. And it's also actually scary even to think about right now. And very shortly after, and I also came in with about $35,000 of credit card debt, which I was like, wow, how did they even approve me for that? Right. Um, However, I came in with a lot of debt, and I came in with $1,000 in my bank account. So I wasn't in a good place. I didn't have the credit card. I could just like put the leads on, but you know what I did have to do? I needed to figure it out. I knew if someone had a gun to my head and said, you need $500, right? I would find $500. I know I would. You guys would too. So I thought about it that way. If someone had a gun to my head and said, you get $500, okay, yeah, it was hard. I figured it out at the time. Didn't take me long because I saw that when I have that $500, the exchange it's going to give me is going to be unbelievable. So Family First Life started here. I was broke. I was scared. I was freaking out. My mindset was all over the place. I literally had to wake up every day and be, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And when you got to tell yourself that many times, like, girl, you got a problem. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, like we can affirm positively in the morning, which I do still. However, when I came in within my first week, I had helped over 10 families, and with, again, these two companies. So that alone helped me get like a peace of mind to know, like, I have my hand on the wheel, if you will. I can, pay my day-to-day, but more importantly, I could reinvest back into leads. So at that point, that was what I was thinking. I'm like, do I pay my car payment or do I pay for my leads? Honestly, I paid for my leads because I knew that they were a quick ROI. They were going to turn over. I bet on myself. I had to bet on myself. If you got this far, bet on yourself. It's the only way you can win. You can bet on Callie, you can bet on Corinne, and I guarantee you they're going to win. But if you don't bet on you, you're not going to win. You just can't. It's literally impossible. So kind of going through the motion, so to say, of FFL, like, don't get me wrong, I have struggles. Like, I got people tell me like they got to think about it. They can't afford it. They don't remember filling the form out. Like, you name it, we all get the same objections. But in terms of what my life looks like now, I'm debt free, which I'm really thankful to say. I've been debt free for over a year. My car is completely paid off. I am right now looking to close on a home. I actually haven't told anybody this outside of a couple of people. I'm actually looking to close on a home here shortly. Just waiting to see if it gets pushed through. But if not, I will be purchasing a home here in Massachusetts, and also purchasing a rental property out in Miami, Florida. So being able to do that after being here for under 4 years, like, where else can you do that? Like, I don't have to worry about money anymore. If I have a family member who's literally in a financial pinch, I know I can help them. And that, it's not like, oh, I'm it. It's like, oh, I worked hard enough that I deserve this, but I got to keep working because I want other people to see this too. And what else I've seen change in my lifestyle is it's not about me anymore. It's about my team. It's about Family First Life, like, as a whole team. It's about showing people like, hey, like, I literally don't do anything special. I'm not special. All I do is show up as if this is a W-2 job, and I have a day-to-day task list that needs to be done no matter what, above everything else. And if you can show up that way, you're gonna win every single time. So count your losses. Like, I love when people tell me no, because I'm closer to a yes. So in terms of what that looks like for me now, it's literally been life-changing in regards to not only me, but my sister as well. She's involved with the business and doing really well also. And just knowing that I'm living like essentially debt-free, if you will, until I do have these two liabilities coming here. But knowing that I'm able to have 2 mortgages, right? And put a significant down payment down. Like, that's a big deal. Like, I'm not 30 yet, So essentially that's really what my lifestyle looks like. And I don't have to worry anymore. I think that's the biggest thing, that if I can always hold in my heart, would be I don't have to worry anymore. And that's what, keeps me up and working and helping other agents get there too. Because when my agents are telling me like, I don't have to worry anymore, that's like the best feeling in the world. because you know that by you coming in and you bringing that person in or exposing them to this, they worked hard for themselves. And now, like, you're able to see that gratification for you because you're like, I helped somebody, not just in a home, I helped somebody change their life by exposing them to what Family First Life can actually do for you.
That's Marysa, that's great. What you've been able to accomplish, and like you said, in a very short period of time. I'm gonna ask you this last question and leave a couple of minutes for questions from the people that are on the team. What would be your biggest piece of advice for somebody who's brand new? What do you tell your new agents that is like a should be a non-negotiable?
You need to plug into the training, or I won't work, or I will not work with you.
Dang. Okay, so just like that.
Just like that. Hey, Callie, you're getting started today. First call I need you to plug into is the TNL. It's Friday. It's at 11 Eastern. Any reason you can't be on it? No, you can be on it. Okay, cool. Call me, text me after the TNL. Tell me what you learned. From there, I'll start working with you. My first piece of advice is you got to get on the training calls, man. Like the national training calls, they're not just on there because like these people aren't doing good. They're doing great. Also, your team call, you got to stay connected. And then another thing I tell them, Callie, is plug into the training and be ready for high activity. Don't take things personally. This can be an emotional business if you take things personally. You know, you're going to push yourself out of the business. It ain't about you. It's about the client. And when you can make it about the client, and when you can finally see that, you know, you're going to work from a place of like from your heart, not from a place of, you know, being desperate. So I think just essentially the biggest things I tell my agents is you need to be on the training calls. I tell them flat out, if you're not on the training calls, I will not help you. And I know that that might sound harsh, but I don't care. And the second thing I tell them is to plug into Dial Team, because I don't care if you came from another company, you think that you're like the best insurance person in the world. I don't care. You got to listen to other people dial, or you got to at least be listened to, and being willing to just partake in a team activity. Like I'll have agents who complain like, oh, like, well, I live in, you know, Ohio and you live in Massachusetts. Okay. Yeah, I know. Like, and get on the Dial Team. Like it's a place to be able to meet who on your team can actually really help out. So I encourage Dial Team like a psychopath, and I encourage the training calls and any in-person trainings that I can point them to, as well as work spots.
No, that's good. That's good, Marysa. Like, I mean, because it sets the tone. You know what I mean? And it really, you know, a lot of times the people that don't want to connect are the people that want the most help, and it's not fair to the leaders because we have people that are connecting and, you know what I'm saying, are following the processes. And those are the people that we, you know, we're going to help because those are the people that are doing what we're asking them to do. It's a give and take, you know, and like, you know, 1099, you're independent contractor, but, and it's also, it's to help you, you know, I mean, it's not to hurt anybody. It's to help the new agent figure out what, you know, learn this whole business because this is brand new, you know, and I know for myself, like if I'm learning still every day, I'm learning something new. You know what I mean? So for a new agent to come in and say, I had somebody the other day that said they know how to dial because they dialed at their last company. I was like, okay, I know what the results are going to be. You know what I mean? And so it's a pride and it's an ego thing. And, you know, the sooner that people drop their pride and their ego, the quicker they can be successful. So thank you for that. Now, okay, this is the last question. We're going to take some questions. What do you say? So, you know, we had you were a speaker at was it the last Marysa M conference you spoke at?
Yeah, I did. I was there with you guys. Yep.
Okay. So what would you say about people getting to the sales conferences? Because we only do them twice in Maryland. We only do them twice a year. You know, it's something that I believe is a must in the business.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, annual convention, right? Like for me, like, again, I spot and like, it might sound mean. I'm sorry if it does. And I apologize for anybody. I actually don't apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings, but like, it's like annual convention. Like if you're not going to go, we all had enough time to plan that. We all had like 10 months to plan to get there. And I flat out told my team, like, if you don't get there, unless you have this very valid reason as to why you can't be there, like I don't want to work with you because you don't want to do this thing if you didn't show up. So it's the same thing. Like the Maryland Sales Conference was it last year? Yeah. Last year, it was huge and it was exciting and it revamped me. So get yourself there because you're going to be surrounded by, you might be like, well, I never met, my upline. Okay, well, go there, meet your upline. They want to meet you too. Get yourself there. And when I say, like, I always say to my agents, like, if you're in or around the area, like what I say in a sales conference, because like Callie said, you do these twice a year. Like, no. It's like if you're if you're in the country, get yourself there. Get on a plane. It's one day, but it's one day that you're going to be able to connect with your team, meet your upline or connect with your upline, whatever that looks like, and learn actual skills that your whole entire group, maybe somebody's a lot better at, dialing the phones than you are, and you just click with that person. You wouldn't have ever met them. And also big decisions are made at big events. It sounds corny, but it's very true. Because even to build this business, my sister and I made that decision at a spring sales conference that was virtual that Paul McLean did, which was really weird. However, it was still a big event, right? Because it was COVID. My point is a lot of us haven't seen each other because of COVID. There were a lot less events over the past couple of years. Get yourself there. The value that you're going, you might be like, I have to be in the field. That's my favorite one. Like, if you're saying that, you need to be there more than anybody else needs to be there, because one day in the field is not going to equate to what you're going to learn there. I'm all on, like, you got to just take action. But if you're not seeing the results that you want to see right now, or you either need to show up for the team or you got to show up for yourself. Because if you're helping 20, 30, 40, 50 plus families a month, you got to show up for the team, right? To help other people and to lean in and learn. I still learn every day. In that specific sales conference, and I don't just say this because I'm on with you guys, it was like invigorating compared to other sales conferences that I've been to. So you guys are part of a great group. Family First Life, obviously, as a company, we all help one another, but take advantage of the people that you guys have access to, because they're people who have been in this business for a very long time and are seeing success with small tweaks and adjustments. So get yourself there. And I would say if you're not there, you got to look at your goals and see if they're really in line with, what you're saying. So that would be my take on it, Callie.
Thanks, Marissa. That's great. We have about 5 more minutes left. Does anybody have any questions for Marissa? She gave a lot of information today. She poured in. So questions are like it's flattering, actually. Any questions?
So doing internet leads.
None? Thanks, George.
Yeah. So doing.
Thank you.
No, thank you. But doing like internet life leads, would you just try and sell people on the life insurance, or were you like going through the financial inventory at first, like every single time?
So personally, I use the financial inventory for every appointment and every lead type. So I would definitely encourage you to use it with an internet lead, just as you would use it with any other lead type.
And that's like still doing one call closes too?
So I'm going to openly say to the telesales side, I can't necessarily speak to it. I personally don't do a whole lot of telesales, but I would assume that you'd still want to know a lot of that information. You're just kind of busting through it a bit quicker.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You got it.
I have a question.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
There we go.
Marissa, again, thank you so much for taking your time out. What does your schedule look like from Monday to Sunday?
That's a great question. So I'm like the big no white space person. So on Monday, I'm in the office by 7:15 in the morning, like latest. I want to be the first one there. I want to make sure that I'm setting the right example. So 7:15, I'm at the office. I dial from 7:30 till about 12 o'clock. Typically, I'll have my appointments in that time span, because those 4 hours there, right there, like that 8 to 12 hour, like, or even that 8 to 10:30 hour, a 2.5 hour span, you're going to book a lot of appointments. Like, or if you miss it, you're going to not book a lot of appointments. It's going to make it a heck of a lot harder. So that's what Monday looks like in terms of that hour. I usually take a quick break, hop on a call that we have on Mondays, and then I get back on the phones at 3 o'clock, and I literally just dial until I have 16 appointments. I cannot leave the office until I have 16 appointments. So then I run my appointments on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, go in the office. I'm doing the same thing. And again, I'm on dial team. I want to just reiterate that. I'm on dial team this whole entire time. And whether I'm unmuted myself or, someone else is. So Thursday, get in the office, same thing. And I run appointments Friday and Saturday. Again, I'm not leaving Thursday until I have those 16 appointments. It's a non-negotiable. And then on Sundays, I actually just do a strategy call with some of my new agents. If they want the help, the call is there. And I will also pick up some extra appointments. If I didn't hit my goal that I was hoping to hit, I'll either make some dials or I'll run some extra appointments if I haven't. So I hope that was helpful.
And that was on Sunday?
On Sunday, yeah. So Sunday's a great day to dial, pick the phones up, in my opinion, from like 2 to 7. I mean, I don't think there's a bad time to dial on, but Sunday on that hour, everybody's in a good mood. So I like to get some appointments pre-set up, if I'm able to.
And then during that, you said 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, is that like lunch?
So that's almost like, for me, I'll be following up with agents. I'll grab some lunch or just watch a training and help some people out and then get back on the phones. I do encourage, if you want to just dial through, because sometimes like when you're in that flow, you can just keep going. If you're that kind of person, just keep going until you hit the 16.
Thank you.
All right, Marysa, that's our time. Thanks for the questions, George. Great questions. Marysa, thank you for your time today. You took into FFL Fury and FFL High Voltage. We appreciate you for that because you did not have to do that. Guys, this call will be available on Monday on the FFL Fury YouTube channel. And as soon as this call is over, the live dials will be back on. So if you are home dialing today, jump on the live dials and get help with dialing. Marysa, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who jumped on the call today. And the stuff from Marysa to help change your business.
Thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
See
one.
y'all.
Love you all. Live dials will be on there right now.
Okay.
Go.